Melvin, flying out, hard into the wall. Now looking to the inside of Corey Green.
Check.
Testing, 1, 2.
Yeah, let me put it on real quick here, and then we'll.
You're gonna have more editing tape than you have a program.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, very funny. We're gonna have to cut out half of it. Okay, so let's see how that comes in. All right, so continue. We'll have a little thing there. There you go.
So where were we lying? I mean, what were we lying about, John? So anyway,
I think we're still on the green flag start of the race.
Yeah.
We've had a couple restarts since then.
That's pretty good. Laurel and Hardy here. Yeah, when I moved back to town after I got married with Pete Hathaway and Catarellis and all them, you know a lot of those guys. I don't think Rick Rose was racing yet at that time, but I thought, wow, this is the best thing I ever saw. These, late model stocks. Then they started the Claimers, which are kind of like bombers, but and I went from there. How old were you when you first went to a race, John?
I started going to, I've been to Ukiah when I was, what's so funny is I remember going to Ukiah when I was a kid, and I was selling popcorn as a kid, and I couldn't even tell you who was promoting the race then. I think we just walked down to the racetrack, hearing him, walked in the back door, and the guy comes up and says, "Hey, you want to sell sodas or popcorn?" And paid us to do that. So,
Wow.
I want to say that super modifieds were running then, because I do remember, like Donnie Wiles racing a little
Pellegrini.
bit. Oh yeah, and all those guys, those guys race. Matter of fact, I remember, they had that pond back out in turn one. I think you could, I think in turn one, the pond was somewhat that kind of came out a little bit, and I think
you're
I've
right.
seen cars that fly off into that pond.
I think you're right about that. No,
So, but that was when that first time I can remember racing. The second time would be, of course, when I met Bob and Nadine back in '75, and I was just talking about this the other day with somebody where I started going to races in 1976, and I think I've missed maybe 10 races to this date.
Wow.
So I've been going to a lot of racing, and then of course get into that part too.
I'm going to tell you a little known story, right, about Bob and Nadine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'd all started racing the same kind of division. So Nadine was driving a car. She did better than Bob did back then.
I remember we were
gonna have to
racing
get a
back in
little
the
snuggish.
70s.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get a little snug and try to get a little closer. So, this is a friendly show. What? Yeah, they don't want to miss any. Yeah, they don't want to miss in any of the dirt. So.
Of course, we're going back to about the times that Shannon probably wasn't even born yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is all new to me. Speaking of dirt,
When did they pave this? 67.
Well, I don't. That's what I was going to ask you. When Ukiah,
and we could try to speak loudly too. We can even talk. We can hurt each other's ears if we have to. But let's talk about. I know. No, we're gonna have some pictures a little later. Hopefully, if everything works out all right, of a wooden track. I didn't know this, but I guess the tracks back in those days used to actually be made out of wood.
Some of them were. Yeah.
Some of them were, and the one we have, Tech. You want to put it up right now if you'd like to. This one was a Gotthard. Do you know anything about Gotthard?
No, the only wood track I remember hearing about was one in Oakland, I think.
There was, I believe there was one in Oakland. I got to researching stuff on the internet one time, going through Racing West, and there was a bunch of old timers in there talking about old racetracks. And I said, "What is the biggest racetrack that you guys know of in Northern California?" And they were all like, "Oh, that's got to be, Tracy over at Altamont." And I said, "Oh, let's go back farther than that." I says, "Do you guys believe that there was a 1.5 mile all wood racetrack?" And the funny thing about this, Shannon, is during the race. And these guys got paid big time bucks. I mean, like $10,000 to win back in 1920. I think it's 28, 29 that the Cotati racetrack was open.
Wow!
And they would have to repair the track under green. And what they would do is they would go up. The guys would sit in the corners and they would actually replace, like 4x12 planks as they were racing along. So as the car would go by and rest one up, they would get up there and they'd pull that one out, and put another one back up.
Back then, the flagman stood right on the track.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh wow! So back then the flag.
IQs were lower back then.
Oh okay. Yeah.
IQs are higher now. They get them out of the way.
Right. So, tell us a little bit about what kind of car was it that you raced?
Studebakers.
Oh, you raced the
And a
Studebaker.
Chevy and a Mopar.
Yeah, they have a lot of those today too. And and we even met. I don't know how many of you know this, but I've actually worked with this guy. We worked together in the announcer's booth, and the name Bill DeChamp comes to mind. What's your thought on Bill DeChamp? And,
He was good.
yeah, yeah.
You knew him, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
John?
I still know him. Yeah, to this day.
He still races actually. You can catch him at the NorCal Vintage Hardtops.
I saw him
.com actually.
last year. I think I saw him. Didn't he put his car on a wall or something?
I don't know
That
if
old
you
one?
raced, you must have been racing over at Lakeport, and
Yeah,
I
it
was
was.
probably traveling around or over here in Ukiah, flagging back when and he was doing that thing. But
Yeah.
I know Bill was very good. Matter of fact, just got nominated to Northern California Hall of Fame.
Really?
Oh wow, he
There-
did. Cool.
I'm almost positive 2 years ago
How are
that
we
he
coming
got
in, Tech?
that he
All
got
right.
nominated for this thing, and which is I think Lloyd Burton has something to do with this Northern California.
Larry Burton? Or
No,
Lloyd?
Lloyd Burton. Yeah, he's
Right.
a guy from been around for a lot of years up in Shasta area. His kid was Danny Burton, raced sprint cars back in the early '90s, all up to about maybe early 2000s. But been around racing for a lot of years. But
Sweet. Well, what about let's talk about how you got the name. Now we're going to talk about him too a little later. There was a great story with you and Lindy Peters, but right now we're going to talk about the name Chuck King of Spam. How did you get the name King of Spam?
That was a total accident.
Really?
Yeah, I can't. If I had told you, I'd have to kill you. So.
Okay. Well,
No,
after
some clown named me that. and
oh
it's
well, after the way the technology's been on this show, if you killed me, you might have put me out of my misery right now. So. Yeah, her too. Like I said, this is let me reiterate this. Channel 3 here, we're public access. And, sometimes things can happen. And let me tell you, we've had a lot of great shows here, and a lot of great shows are being produced, such as the Barbie T. Marshall show and quite a few others. Public access is a great thing. If you want to see more shows like this, it's only $36 a year. Sometimes with this happens, donate some money and maybe we can get past these little glitches.
I'll mug John on the way out of here.
You'll bug John on the way out of here? Yeah?
You have a big fat chance of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So back on the King of the Spam Savage, if you don't mind.
that's a radio thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Well, yeah, but it stuck for some reason. And then Bob and Sandy Duncan, I'm sure you guys talk about, they came in, they got a hold of me and said, how about announcing races? And I'm like, I don't think so. It would make me nervous. Well, anyway, I ended up for almost 10 years, 9 to 10 years doing it. And boy, was it fun.
Oh yeah, you were I remember just you and I working together over Ukiah Speedway back when Ukiah was running on Friday nights and Lakeport
Yeah.
on Saturday nights with Bob Duncan when they first came, and we got an opportunity to work together, and boy did I have a lot of fun. I remember we used to do the taste great, less feeling Miller thing.
Yeah.
And we'd see who would win. I'd get one side going, he'd get the other side going.
I think
And not
one
for
of
the
my-
fact that he'd always screw with me anyway. So
One of my favorite quotes by this guy is working with him is when the cars are just coming around the corner. He's always say, "Pitter patter, let's get at her."
how did you come up
How
with
did
that?
you come up with that? Yeah, that's great. That was
I met a
great,
guy, his wife worked at KUKI with me, and he did odd jobs, maintenance and stuff, and he painted the house. And the house I was renting, and he goes, well, pitter patter, I got to get back at her. I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
And then you started using it,
Yeah.
and then I was like, the first time I heard it, I just started working with Chuck over at Lakeport. That was our first time we worked
Yeah.
together. Was at Lakeport, and I was like,
And the same guy,
Wow.
Tony, he had to put another coat on, so I called him Two Coat Tony because it wasn't quite good enough for him. It looked good to me. Yes.
yes, yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about another thing too, which is really cool. Lindy, if you're watching, call us 707-462-1407. Lindy Peters has a story, and I don't know if it was with you or with Sandy, but in 1997 you went with Lindy Peters and you brought a tape recorder with you down to Infineon Speedway, which then was called Sierra's Point.
Well, Lindy got 2 press passes because he was mayor of Fort Bragg. So a nice guy, but so we ended up in the pits interviewing a few drivers and watching. And so we had this funky little tape recorder, and I had the wire, right, or whatever. And we're walking along, we hear a noise, turn around, here's Bobby Labonte with a mini stock because his front end was smashed up to the window. And he almost ran over us. So we held the wire up, which the cars are low anyway. But, so he went in between. I got lost after that.
Yeah.
Then the funniest thing, Lindy was bugging Dale Earnhardt. He said, "Let me take a picture." And Earnhardt goes, "No, not yet, not yet." But when he came out, Lindy wasn't around. I said, like they said, yeah. So I got a nice picture of Earnhardt. It was in the pits. So here comes Lindy back, and Earnhardt's getting in his car. I swear to God, it's a true story. Earnhardt gets in his car, and he goes, so Lenny sticks his head in the passenger window and goes, "Hey, Dale." And Dale turns around, he clicks. And it really ticked, I'll be mild here, it really ticked Earnhardt off. He fired that car and give it like about $8,000, whop, whop, like that. And Lindy's eyes were bigger than silver dollars. It just went right through you. It was loud. But he never did that again.
Is that where
fun.
the tape recorder? Where did the tape recorder come in?
Oh, we had that.
He said you took a tape recorder with you.
We did, yeah.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But it was on a line. He had the microphone, and I had the
Right.
backup thing, whatever it is.
You got some pictures there, which we'll have a look at
Okay.
a little bit later. But let's talk about racing today and what you see as far as the young kids in racing today. What's your? Let's talk about that. Give an opinion. I don't care. We'll have it uncandid, whatever.
Sorry about I'm sweating in here.
That's
It's hot.
okay. It's pretty warm out today. The weather's been in the 80s right now.
Wait a minute. This is a race show, not a weather program.
Can you see behind us? Yeah, right here it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be cloudy.
Boston
Tomorrow's
is
going to be
cold.
about 33. No, okay. No, I just just explaining why it's kind of warm in here. It's warm in the studio. Like I said, we don't have air conditioning in here either. So help support public access. Maybe we can get things like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Can I add one more quick story?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
John, do you remember the West Capitol Speedway half
I remember
mile?
it, yeah.
They had a quarter-mile track.
That was one of
and-
the best half miles on Northern California. That's over in Sacramento area, right?
Yeah, it used to be on West Capitol Avenue. They'd open up this big half mile, and they had people, Wild Bill Sullivan would be down here from Reno, and all these people from all over. And they started 63 cars.
Oh,
And Campbell, right off the bat, started shoving somebody around, and he ended up in the infield about the third lap. Bless his heart.
Bob Campbell.
Yeah, he's.
I got the opportunity to watch him race back in the late '70s, early '80s when he came out of retirement and got into a stock car and
Yeah.
raced that. Actually the car ended up being bought by Bob Fulton, who bought the car that Bob Campbell had put together. But I can remember a story one time where I was up in the grandstands watching a race, and there was a conflict between Bill Peters and Bob Campbell came together on the front straightaway and spun together.
Lord.
And and that's back when Bob Peters or Bill Peters was running the convertible '88, and then Andy
remember that.
Sabini was running the number 2 convertible. And these two got out. Bob Campbell jumps out of his car. He goes over and is just beating on Bill Peters' head, on his helmet.
Oh.
And here comes Andy, jumps out of his car, jumps over it, and jumps on top of Bob Campbell. Of course, that's back when back in the, I want to say the late '70s, early '80s, and boy, those guys just.
Was it more?
A fight-
was
it was
more
fights
lenient back then?
every
Was it
night.
more lenient, and they allowed it that they?
Well, I don't.
mean,
and then of course the law got involved with it, and it became, and I'm going to sue you, and you're just going to sue me, and then that kind of just stopped the fighting part of it, pretty much.
What
Right.
was the difference between opinion between him and Deschamps, Campbell and Deschamps? They seemed like they
I
didn't
never
get
got
along.
a chance to watch those two go race because both those guys were racing super modifieds at the time,
Yeah.
and I think they had quit racing super modifieds in '75 at Lakeport. I want to say because I don't remember them in '76 run much at all. But they may have ran up to 76, 77. I could be off a couple years because, I'm getting up there in age now, too. And
Yeah,
I've been sniffing that gas for too long.
see, I'm still wet behind the ears with this whole racing thing. So having this vintage night would be, drying out. Having that's gonna. I'm finding that I'm really finding out about how racing is.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of wet behind the ears myself. So let's talk. Speaking of wet behind the ears, let's talk about the youngsters out there. I've had quite a few of them on my
okay,
show.
yeah. Sorry.
No, that's all right. We got a lot of great stories. This is vintage night. Do your thing.
You can tell it's vintage here.
Well,
He's all right. I'm antique.
Johnny Miskell's the vintage part of it.
And I'm the antique.
And not the antique part of it all.
So there's a lot. What do
What
you
do I
see
think-
now? What do you think nowadays about the youngsters that are racing nowadays compared to how it was back in the day?
Oh.
Well, when it first started, you had to be 18, at least, right?
I'm sure about probably then.
Yeah, 18. And
1920?
first one I know.
30? What was it?
1729. No,
Seven.
Sky. Hey, your mother's calling you. Don't know. Anyway,
Mom, I'm on TV. Be back in a minute.
where were
Basically
we
the
going?
basically the times of the ark. You know, that's.
I think it's a great time if
Yeah.
people can afford to do it and put on a good show. They're going to
Well,
get.
I think
more
I
and
could
more
help
people.
out with Chuck a little bit. I could tell you the difference between now and then. Then you were picking your parts up out of a wrecking yard back when he started racing, and then the prefab people came about the mid to late about the mid '80s to early '80s. And when I say prefab people, that would be people like there'd be you know, that's when the factory frames got together and started people
Right.
started, and that's
What?
when the
And the
expensive racing got
Yeah.
expensive. So I think it took a lot of the, it's all right, you can bump me up a little bit, I can fight with you, to, man, you really destroyed my car, we can really go at it now.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I just think that the level of today compared to then, I think back then carefree, might have had more crap happen. At the same time, it's serious now. I want to
It
say
is,
it's more
yeah.
serious.
It has gotten more serious.
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
Instead of $20, it's $250.
$50.
It's
Well, there you
amazing.
go. That's
What?
probably why it has become more serious, because it's a.
Well, the
it's
money
gotten
thing
more,
has become-
It's gotten more expensive now.
Well, when you back then, you could take a car, build it in your garage, and go out and race it. Today, you build a car in your garage. If you're really super smart, you know, you might survive. But some of these guys, you know, it's just easier to prefab a car. I mean, it depends on what class you're in,
Right.
of course. You
Well,
know,
getting back to your question, I think we're also a good idea as long as they can afford it, these kids.
right.
And you know, God bless the parents for putting up with it. The best part about that, and you can do the go-karts or whatever, what that does is give these kids something to do. They're not out drinking,
Right.
hardly any of them and stuff. But getting back to the age, the first one I can remember to race under 16 was the rule at the time. Bob and Sandy was Casey Saunders. He was 15 and a half. And I was, wow, how did they do that? You know, anyway. But these kids nowadays, whether 12 and 14, aren't they? Acing.
Even younger than that. We have the outlaw go-kart
Yeah.
drivers that are only 5 and 6 years old. That as far as paved tracks concerned, I believe the youngest is going to be 8, and that's he's going to be driving a Mudaku Bandolero, as a matter of fact. And I didn't get to see his car. I think Cindy Pickrell did. We got there's some great photos on her Facebook. The number 97 comes to mind. Colby Furia. Yes, the shirt. Colby Furia. Now Colby Furia is 8 years old. He moved up from a outlaw go-kart to paved track.
He's got a beautiful car, by the way. I've
Yes,
seen
the car
pictures
is
that Cindy
it's the
taken.
same
It
exact
is
paint scheme as
pretty
the
cool.
as the outlaw go-kart. And I believe he's going to be the youngest out there, so that's going to be real awesome to see
What's
that.
he going to race?
He's going to race a Bandolero. Those Bandolero cars are
See,
a great start car.
I went to
also.
take a nap, minding my own business, and I
woke
wake
up.
up, and the tires are 15 inches wide. And
Yeah, what
I
happened?
had to throw my bicycle tires away.
About all these new classes too, like there's this brand new.
don't.
You don't like the new classes?
No, that's why I came down here.
Oh, you came down here to let people know you don't like the new classes?
No, I don't.
How come?
Because there's too many.
Ah, okay. Well, that's cool, man. This is
Let me tell you something.
This is the Checkered Flag Talk Show. This is what we have you on here.
They got way too many classes. Who wants to watch an 8-car main event? I'm being honest there.
No, that's fine.
As opposed to
That's
a 20 or 24-car main event. So what they've done is they've taken a good class of cars, cut that in half, and now they're quartering that one out.
They did it with the Bombers.
Yeah, they
sure.
did. They,
For
Bombers,
sure.
the street stocks. When the Montanas were, I'm not supposed to mention their name, when they were promoting the track down here, that was announced in that year, and we had 83 different Bombers registered to race. 83, right? You're talking about a C main, transfer, B main, transfer. There's a good night of racing right there. You could bring in something a couple times a month. But the people just like good racing.
I
think.
tell you what, I think
That's my opinion.
I think
No,
Bob
that's good.
I think Bob Strauss is right. I think what you do is you drop everybody else off and you pay them like $2,000 to win and watch all the Bombers come back. I mean, you could put
Oh,
them
yeah.
on. You know, they race for basically trophies or a little bit of cash now, but man, oh man, and there
That's
is
a good point.
If you
lot
do
of
that,
Bombers out
I
there.
totally agree with that. If you make the Bombers the thing, I mean, it's gonna. It would make for one heck of a race. I mean, not the fact that they're only. I
Can you
mean,
imagine 50 of them showing up to race?
could you
every night?
could you fans out there imagine that 50,
It
50.
happened.
I'd say 100.
Oh,
More like
50 to 100?
Oh yeah.
You know, they have a thing, a Bomber Bash every year. Lakeport does a thing called the Bomber Bash, and I think that's pretty close
They
to
have
what
one
you
here
were
at
talking
Ukiah
about.
as well too.
Yeah, they do. They
Yeah.
do. Yes, they do. And I think that's a whole. That's pretty much a night of bombers.
Well, it is, yeah. But
Yeah.
they have Lakeport's
But I
added
can see
some
what
other
I can
classes.
see. You know what Chuck's saying.
I can see
the
his
rules
point.
have
I
changed
could.
quite a bit.
Okay.
Where you basically blew the bombers when you made advanced bombers out of them.
Oh,
you had,
man.
and I think what you did is you had a bunch of guys that forgot about the class being a class that's it's an
starter
entry
class,
level,
right.
entry level
Entry.
class, and then you had the guys that really didn't really have anything to jump up to because by that time street stocks had kind of faded away a little bit, but modified. So that was a big jump
And
from a
there's a little
bomber
money
to a
there.
modified.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they ended up coming with the bonus bombers and letting them have a little bit more leeway. But yeah, you're right. If they would have not, and I thought that was a bad move.
You're
Because it
right,
split
though.
them in half.
I'm
split them
not
in
just
half.
saying this, John, but they should pay the bombers. a
Hang
little
on
bit.
real quick. I think our tech has given us some good news finally. Okay, yeah, let's try that again real quick. And I gotta say, Terry, you know what? This is Terry Terry Larson. You rock. She's great having here. So
She's not rocking.
you know what? It's
Am I coming in good?
it's a learning process.
Somebody had turned off all the mics.
Ah, there we go. How are we coming in? We're all three coming in good now? All right. Well,
Now
can
we could kick on back.
now we
here.
can kick on. Hey, now we can say, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Checkered Flag Talk Show.
Take
You're
five.
not seeing deja vu, or
Five.
you're not seeing deja vu, or deja vu, or whatever you want to call it. This is the Checkered Flag Talk Show, episode 49. Cut. Yeah, we can't do cuts on this. This is an NBC, so we can't do cuts on this.
Bill Gates would.
Yeah, I like your Bill Gates joke. So yeah, for those of you who are just turning in, episode 49, we've got Vintage Night right now, and we've got Chuck the King of Spam Savage in the hot seat, and of course Johnny Miskell, co-host, and yours truly, Ace Naylor. You know me, the voice of Ukiah Speedway. So we'll continue with this here. So let's talk about the wooden tracks. There's a picture that she already showed. Oh, Johnny was talking a little bit about that earlier, and I'm really curious about that, Johnny.
There's a couple places.
How did that work?
Yeah, like I said, the only thing that hurt that racetrack, from what I understand, it was a 2-year project. And I want to say it was like 28, 29, or 27, 26. If anybody knows, they can call on in. But what it was a wooden track that existed back then. And like I said, they paid big time bucks. They averaged like 119 miles an hour back in the 20s. And what the problem was is they couldn't fill and when they did fill the stands, they were packed. I mean, I would say 30,000 people. But the problem that they had, it was so far out of town that it took too long for them to get most people to get there by horse and buggy that it failed. And what they ended up doing they tore the track down, and they
This tells you how old Johnny is, folks.
and they ended up building
Yeah.
I want to say a housing complex with the wood out of the track, but I think it was more of for some reason, chicken farm sticks in my head for some reason. But they tore the track down, used the wood to build some kind of industrial park of some kind.
Right.
But but there was quite a few of those wood tracks around the whole United States.
Right on.
That always reminded me.
But-
No, excuse me. a second.
No, go ahead.
No, they always remind me of you seen those guys in the circus that get these motorcycles going around that wood. Man.
Yeah.
No, wooden tracks, I guess, were the thing in those days, and I it's hard to understand the concept or how fast they can even go. You know, what happens if you get a rot somewhere?
These guys were getting paid bucks. I mean, $7,000 back in 1920 would be like $1 million.
Oh
today.
yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
They were.
Right.
Oh yeah. They were. Oh.
You found that.
I found that you could go online and just type in Katati Speedway, and there's quite a bit. There's actually forums and stuff that you can read, about some of the drivers and stuff that happened back in the times. I think the world record was set at Katati Speedway for 1 year, and then I think it went down south.
Wow.
And somewhere else, they had another track that they had broke the record there too.
I can't believe that. Even Johnny knows about the wooden tracks, and that's
What you call vintage.
That's what you really call vintage. And the fact that Johnny knows about it. No, I'm
Johnny,
just kidding.
Johnny
but
was down
hey,
there the first night. He only ran over
Yes,
2
I was
horses.
the
hey, you
first night.
two, got to give a sponsor shout out because that's what makes this show happen here. S&K Automotive, located at 1765 Main Street in Lakeport. For more information on all your automotive needs, 707-263-3542. As a matter of fact, him and his son actually race the Snyders.
We got to get them in here.
We got to get the Snyders
I wanna
on here.
get
If you guys
both-
are watching,
both of
you're
those
welcome to
guys
call
in here.
in, and we'll get you on here. We got a great guest for next week, which we'll talk about in a minute. We're going NASCAR next week, believe it or not.
Oh, cool.
Technology will be a lot better than too. Don't worry, we'll get it figured out. Of course, you can watch us on checkeredflag.tv. Our second sponsor, of course, Fast Lube Plus, located at 765 right here, State Street in the heart of Ukiah. And that takes care of our sponsors. Oh, and of course, we cannot forget, we actually had her in here. She came in on her bike, Jerry Spittler, girlfriends of Clear Lake. you know, a hair salon and all that. I've actually gotten my
I used to go there
hairstyle there.
myself.
Girls like racing too.
Yes, those girls like Ray. Yeah, he used to go there himself, huh? Once
Yeah.
upon a time.
I used to get my hair permed down there.
Ah, well, yeah.
Both of them.
I bet you it's real cheap now, isn't it? Yeah. So hey, that takes care of the sponsors, and of course, let's talk about now. Next week we got a great show, Johnny. You got to hear this. We've got Matt Scott. We had him on when we were on Blog Talk Radio, but he's going to come out here and be here live and in person on the Checkered Flag Talk Show next Monday night at 7 p.m. You're not going to want to miss it. Oh, okay, yeah. She wants
What's
to
he
put
do?
it. She wants to put a picture
K-
up. Do you have a picture of
K-Men
Matt
series.
Scott on there? I
Oh,
didn't think I
really?
sent
Yeah.
you one, did I? Did I send you a picture of Matt
Pretty
Scott?
popular on
What's that?
K&N. It's getting pretty-
Yeah, I think so. You know, I know Derek Jones been racing a little
Oh.
bit of it,
Okay.
and along with the SRL and stuff like that too.
Yes, she
SRL's doing
is.
really,
She
really well
sponsors
right
us
now.
too. She came. You know, we had her on our show.
The SRL's
Actually,
doing really, really well.
you too. We had her on our show. She came in on her bike. You know, we had her on our show.
I
and
think
it
I
was
was
just awesome
gone. I
show.
think I was
Yeah, you
working,
were
yeah.
gone, but she does a lot of things for kids, and we're going to talk to
good.
Johnny in a little bit because Johnny's doing something very unique that he's wanting to get together that I saw on the Facebook. We'll get to that in just a minute. But yeah, you're not going to want to miss it. Number 35, Matt Scott of the NASCAR Women Series driver will be right here live in the studio next Monday. It's going to be an awesome show. So we're going to get back. We're going to get back to you, man. So what's your plans? What's your future plans? What are you doing now, basically?
Retired.
You're retired. So are you planning on announcing here and there
No,
when they need you?
I can't do that anymore.
Really? Because I was hoping you'd be able to fill in for me because I have such a big schedule. I'm serious. I have such a big schedule that they may need, and then Justin Briggs and I are theater actors. We'll be off doing our theater stuff, so we're kind of
Oh,
hoping
that's
maybe
right.
we can use you for a
Oh,
couple
I
at
can't
least.
do it anymore. My mind don't work. my mind don't work.
You just kind of got tired pretty much. Well,
Yeah.
I know you went and watched. I've seen you out there with
Oh,
this
yeah,
last year, and you
still
brought your
going.
granddaughter with you, so you're still going to the races, which is good. Right
Yeah,
on.
let's get back to those classes of cars that Johnny was talking
Yeah,
about.
absolutely.
So how many classes they got? Let's go through this. For you got mini stocks, right or no?
Mini stock still go.
And you got legend cars,
Legends,
bombers,
bombers,
bonus bombers, modifieds,
late models.
late models.
Then you end up with you've got the Bandoleros.
7.
You got BCRA midgets that we Lake Pro
Right.
Uki Speedway this year. So there's
That's a
another
lot of
class.
Oh, you got
Classic
some new
cars.
ones too. As a matter of fact, you know that Lake
Oh,
Forest
we've got a
Speedway has the
four-cylinder.
efficient shifter cars, the little shifter cars, which I saw those. Those are pretty cool looking. They actually were doing they were running those for their play day. I was down there rehearsing for theater, and we had during lunch break. I went and checked it out. And also, Kyle Telstrom's car looks really good. I saw a picture on the Cindy Pickrell's Facebook, our photographer here, Checkered Flag Dog Show photographer.
That's
And
your
Speedway photographer. Yeah, she's here in the studio right now. You don't have to put the camera on her because I don't know if she. Yeah, she's saying no. She says no.
Damn.
He's got a very awesome looking car, and I think that's a great outlet for a person like Kyle to have a car like that. And you know, those cars are pretty awesome too. I don't know if they're called Extreme Asphalt Outlaws. They're pretty cool looking. They're a combination. Now get this. They're a combination. I found a little more about them. They're a combination of a late model and an outlaw, and they've got a dipped.
You know, like
They've got a
the
dipped,
Tony Stewart's thing that he runs every year, that
Oh,
Prelude race. They look just like those cars, except for their asphalt.
wow.
They're really, really nice
But
looking
Kyle's
cars.
car is
They are
pretty
cool
awesome looking. I saw his
Oh,
car.
I saw David's car. I've seen Wade Coleman's car.
David has a car. David who?
Furious.
Oh,
got,
David Furious got
Furious
one?
got
He's
one.
racing one of his own? Oh,
He's
cool.
got a beautiful looking car.
Wow, I didn't even know that. He was racing one
I've
of
seen
his own.
Wade Coleman's car.
Now Wade Coleman's is
Beautiful.
pretty sick looking.
That's
I've
cool
I've
looking
talked to him
too.
on Facebook a few times.
I think they're probably going to end up having what David seems to think that they're going to have, and that's around 14 of those cars, and they should put on a heck of a show.
You know what? I'm going to say something right now, and I know that there's I hate to say this, that there's turf wars out there, but I'm going to say it. I'm not too afraid to admit.
If you're stuttering, you're lying.
I'm not lying. Shut up. I'm not
Okay,
lying.
go
No,
ahead.
listen. No, listen. I gotta
I
say.
like that.
I gotta say something. I think it was really brilliant. I'm gonna make a very bold statement here, a broad, bold statement. I think it was brilliant what David Furia did. Sorry to say that, but he did. I mean, the cars. You know, he lost a class. You know what? And he actually put a whole other class in there and actually covered it. And that to me was a very brilliant thing they did. That's a very brilliant mind to be able to do that. To be able to add a class. What do you think on that? Adding a class of cars.
Well, let me first off say that, David Furia And what's it, Danny? What's his last
Danny
name?
McIntyre.
They have done so much work over there. I mean, they have put their life and soul in there. I feel sorry for their wives, but I mean, they have really done a good job over there.
Racing
They
in
have
Northern
done some
California alone has everybody has done a great job. Ukiah Speed. I mean, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm in neutral party here. Ukiah Speedway. We got Stockton 99s come back. I mean, I think that these people are really shaping the way that the racing is happening here in Northern California.
The only thing
That's my
the only thing
opinion.
that I don't see that Lakeport's doing that Lakeport should do, and that is work with other promoters, like like Lakeport or like
Well, he wants to be more
Ukiah is
independent.
working with
You know.
Shasta. They're working. They've got their little extreme modified show that's going on. They've got I think there's 5 or 6 races that go from racetrack to racetrack to racetrack.
No, that's true because Ukiah is working
So-
with a tri-track challenge, and so
Sure.
you know that's.
That's
think
what I think that
brilliant.
Lakeport needs to do, because if you continue to keep running your same class every day, people get burnt out. You bring in other ventures of course they'll have their midget show and stuff like that, but if they could have got on top of that modified class and brought a couple of those modified shows to Lakeport too, that just helps them in the long run too.
You know,
and
we
I
had
think
the AABLM on. We had Airport Autobrokers Late Models president on here, and it's just like he said. And it's a. I think it was a brilliant thing. You know, there was nothing personal, but they didn't have the time to go to Lakeport this year with their big schedule. So what does David do as a promoter? Oh well, I lost a class. What am I going to do? You know what? Out of a brilliant mind, he pulls up, you know what, we're going to make our own class, and we're going to call it this, and we're going to make a new design and make it look cool. And he's got people like Kyle Telstrom and Wade Coleman like we just talked about. So, you know, there are a lot of good qualities to Lakeport Speedway. I have to say that. And I got a chance to go out there during my break and watch the play day. The shifter cars were awesome to watch. All the different classes they had there, you know.
How many classes they have here now? They have all the ones that we mentioned?
pretty much so, yeah.
But not all.
Not all at the same time,
except for
no.
Neil.
No.
Not at the same time.
And you know what? In all fairness, Ukiah, we have our fans. Lakeport, they have their fans.
That's a
It's not
different
taking
crowd.
anything away. It's not taking anything away and to mention a track, because we have fans here that would rather watch Ukiah. We have fans over there that would rather watch there. You know, and you know, Furia kind of wants his track to be more independent. I agree with you on the fact that, you know, he doesn't want to, but I think it's because he kind of wants to do his own thing. He wants to make it their own independent thing. It's a non-for-profit speedway, which is very unique to begin with. You know, so.
Well, so where was going?
I'm sorry. Did I
No.
cut you off? Were you going somewhere there?
I'm getting too old for this.
Hey, I'm the same exact way.
Okay, what John was mentioning, at the end of the year, they're now starting to work together, like Shasta, Eureka.
See, that's what I've seen a lot of. I've been on meetings already between with Blair and talking with Rick Faith over at Shasta Speedway. Works really well with Linda and Rich Olson up in Eureka. Mike Doss is working. Of course, we're in a traveling
Right.
thing with Airport Autobrook Late Model Series.
That's my
so
favorite
we're also
class.
working. We're working around with other people too. Like this year, day after my birthday, I get to be in Roseville flagging my first time ever in Roseville, which I had the opportunity when I raced at Roseville one time. The flagman said, "Hey, come on up here and flag with me," and I said, "Oh, I'll be right up there as soon as I finish my race."
Well, they
Forgot
had-
about it, never went.
On the
So-
other hand, I can't wait for the Tri-Track Challenge. We had Nadine Strauss on our show when we were at the Boathouse Bar and Grill, and Bob Strauss. They've got some awesome things happening at Ukiah too. They're also looking at a track expansion.
you gotta bring people in. You gotta bring people from out of your area into racing. And like I say, Lakeport's got their deal, but it seems like they're just doing it within the group of people they have. You gotta
Yeah, they
pull
are.
over
They are.
and grab
You know,
a
they
Mike
are, but
Doss. You gotta pull over.
I've got nothing bad
and
to say
grab
about
an
'em,
Eric
but they
Graham, or you gotta
Right.
pull and grab people from out of the area that people might want to see somebody else race.
What? Back in the 70s, at the big open competition.
Oh, geez, I remember.
Well, nobody would work with anybody. So on one Sunday you might have, or one weekend you'd have 3 different tracks doing it.
Right.
And now it seemed like this.
There used to be a series, an open comp series that
Right,
ran from
oh,
Eureka,
exactly.
Shasta,
Yeah.
Lakeport. It was a tri-state. It was another one of those tri-things
I would
where
love to
a
see
points
that with
thing
Ukiah. You know what I would
that
love to
works out.
see? I would love to see that with Ukiah and Lakeport.
Well, that Lake-
I would love to see the thing they did.
It was called King of the Hill, baby.
King of the Hill.
That's what it
the
was
King of the
called.
Hill Challenge was the best thing they had out there.
Oh, I
The
agree
King
with
of the Hill
you.
Challenge. We were bringing. Look at the crowd decrease. We were, and that's another thing. Another way I think that we can get more people in seats is by, you said, working together. The crowds were bigger. you had bigger
It was
crowds.
an every other weekend thing.
And it
you
was
know?
every other
Here,
weekend.
Here,
You were there.
there,
you were
here.
here. I was working in
Right.
Lakeport one weekend.
Those were
the next
good.
weekend I was going to Ukiah, and I absolutely loved it. I loved working.
I
more
know
than one
for a
track.
fact, and I've heard Blair tell me over and over and over, he would do anything to get that thing back again.
I
But
know he would.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
just not in the cards right now to work that deal out. So what it is what it is, and we'll all survive. We're all going to survive. Racing's going to continue to go on.
I know Blair, and Blair Aiken's a reasonable man, and I know that he would want more than anything, just like we would, to have that again, and have where all tracks are working together. I mean, why do you think he's allowing the tri-track challenge? Because he sees that working with other tracks is what to do nowadays. That's the best way to get up against the economy.
But see, the big thing that I'm seeing that's going to happen now is that you've got fuel costs. When you're pulling a big rig down the highway and you're driving at 200 miles, it makes it pretty tough. I've talked with Gannons. It costs them. They work on a really, really tight budget, and it's hard for them to load their stock car up and come race at
Okay,
Ukiah.
I got them on our Facebook.
Yeah, they plan on running the whole Airport Auto Broker Late Model
Cool.
Series this year. Not Eric plans, not Eric, but Steven plans on running, from what I understand. Talking with Eric the other day on Facebook.
Well, now that we're talking about racing, let's talk about openers. Ukiah Speedway opens on the 9th. We've got a lot
this
of great
weekend, gosh,
this weekend. Yeah, Johnny.
I'm in a freaking nervous all week.
I
It's
love
Monday
his
and I'm already
Facebook.
going. I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown by the time it comes Friday.
His Facebook news feed read, after 26 years, I still get nervous going
sure.
into the new
going into the
new season.
sure.
I think everybody kind of does. There's new things. There's a lot of new things. A lot of new, hot, exciting things happening this year at both tracks. So I
Don't
can
get me
see
wrong,
that
it's a
could
great
be-
feeling. I love the
Yeah.
heck out of it. And
I got
Yeah.
so scared once I wet my pants.
uh-oh.
Yeah, but
Well, that's what happens after you get 50, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
that happens on a
depends.
natural.
gonna happen to me. I can't
thought
do that
that
in
happened on a
Flagstaff.
natural basis, didn't it? Oh, okay. Well.
What's this tri-state thing you were talking about?
Yeah, the Tri-Track Challenge. Do you know anything about that, Johnny?
It's a
Let's talk
it's a
little bit about
modified
that.
series. I think they
Oh.
race 2 up in Eureka, 2 at Shasta, and 2 at Lakeport. And it's a 6-race series, and it'll be a point based upon a point system that
Oh,
just
so Lakeport's
basically
taking part in something else, and they're taking part in the
they're
Tri-Track
not part of
Challenge?
that.
No, they're racing in Lakeport. I thought I heard you mention. Okay.
It's just the 3 racetracks that are running this
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
But it's like I said, a series that's going to be run, and hopefully that they can get the guys to they can have the money to get and travel to these other tracks. Now
Right.
Eureka, I've raced Eureka before, and if I cannot figure out why anybody would not want to go run there. I mean, because it is a really neat, fast, fun racetrack to race at.
Last time I was up there, Danny Cashada won,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like spot on that day. You put an X out there out of turn 2, you'd hit that thing every time.
That's pretty good for Denny too, because
Oh,
his
yeah.
consistency back then was about
That
1
was
out of 5 times.
50 perfect laps. It was great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about let's go back on the racing schedule. So, do we know all the classes that are going to be there for this?
I don't know
I know.
nothing,
I really
Shannon.
should have a calendar in front of me. But
I was looking for a
but the 9th
schedule. yesterday.
You can go to UkiahSpeedway.com to get a schedule, and of course, Lakeport. You can go to LakeportSpeedway.com.
Right.
You can find the schedules on there. But you know what? For those of you who are in the Ukiah area, you want to save gas money. You want to see a really, really awesome race. Then you know what? Watch a race here on the 9th, and of course, Lakeport's doing theirs on the 9th. And for those of you who are in the Lake County area,
Starts this weekend.
for those of you who are in the Lake County area, go out there and watch that. You got 2. Hey, you know what? You got 2 races going on.
We're working that bus trip. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, let's talk about the bus trip, Johnny. You had something very unique. Now that we're back on that subject.
It's something that Blair kind of threw at me. And I could be going off, and just rambling on about it right now. But Blair had brought up this thing about doing a bus trip from Lake County to bring people over to bring people over to Ukiah Speedway. So we thought one of the Airport Auto Broker Late Model Series races, we were going to get a bus, meet at the boathouse, and we're still up in the air. I've thrown it on Facebook because I want to see how many people are interested, and there's a lot of people that really think it's cool.
I for one am interested. I wish. And Cindy Pickerel said she's interested, and I know if there's businesses out there that are interested, that they can definitely sponsor something like having your name on
definitely.
having your name on something that awesome.
But check this
and
out.
That good.
What's really cool is and I'm like I said, I don't know the details, and I got to talk with Blair more about it. But I know that we were going to meet at the boathouse. We were going to, and there's a lot of people that don't either have cars that can make it to Ukiah, or or they don't like to drink and drive, but they don't want to drink and drive. So this is given an opportunity to. We're going to give give it one shot and see what kind of turnout we get. But I'm going to ride the bus. We're going to take it through the pits. It's going to come on the front straightaway. The people are going to get off, go up in the grandstands. Then when it's
From
over,
right there on the
they're going to
racetrack?
come back out, get on their bus, and they'll head
gonna
back
ha-
home again.
hand
And I'll be riding the bus
From
too.
right there on the racetrack. You'll be driving the bus, right?
I won't be driving the bus.
They won't
no.
give you. They won't give you a uniform and a cap and a hat and a.
But
cap.
like I said, this is totally it's just kind of been thrown out there. It's nothing, nothing in writing or anything like that.
But I
yet,
think you can make it work. I
I
really
think it'll
can.
work.
I really think it could be made to work. I mean, look what you did with the Built-House Barn Girl Latino 500 party.
Mm-hmm.
It started with a dream, and this was what, the 16th annual, and this was
Yeah.
the biggest year I think you've had.
About
in that.
300 people.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen.
Where you work?
Yeah, we have a Daytona party that I have every year. We've been doing it now at Boathouse for about 7 years.
How many TV screens you got?
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9.
Jesus.
We got him outside. We had Mike Doss bring his late model. We had it in the backyard. We had
Wow.
Budweiser girls there.
Oh yeah, we had the Budweiser. I got to have him on the show.
We had him on TV, and they
had
were
him on TV.
flashing behind the screen, everything else.
Oh
too.
yeah, that happened. Of course, that was in the edited version. But I had to tell you a funny story. We actually didn't know it was happening, and we were broadcasting live. We had the car right behind us. We had Bob and Nadine Strauss there. The look on Nadine Strauss's face was priceless. It's so funny because she was totally oblivious of what was going on. And these girls walk up behind us, wanted their camera time. Woo! Kept right on walking. Johnny knows them. They're Johnny's people. And,
That kind of reminds me of a story.
Shameful.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a story one time that Dale Earnhardt won his first race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the race at Phoenix, and they were interviewing him, and the crowd was he had him on that track pass thing, and they're all interviewing him, and they're talking, and of course they didn't put it on TV. He goes, "Well, what do you like so much about Phoenix?" About that time, a girl gives a big scream, and she flashes him, and he goes, "I reckon that's what I like." So that's what everybody else. I've got people at the Boathouse going, "Man, I want that copy of that tape. I want to watch that tape."
The other funny part of the story is too. Yeah, everyone's like, I want the raw footage, which we've got. But the funny thing is that our cameraman at the time was Alan Markowski, TV 8.1. He's done a lot for me with the wrestling and other stuff too. The look on his face, I thought maybe there was something that we did or said that maybe shocked him. It was out of turn, because you never know. You never know with the Checkered Flag talk show. We're very spontaneous here, as you can tell, as you watch today. Actually, this tech stuff we had earlier was actually part of the show. It was all play. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, the look on his face was just priceless. And I'm thinking, did I say something wrong? And he turned white. His whole face just turned white. And I found out later why. And he goes, "Boy, you guys missed it." And I said, "See what happens behind us?"
Oh man.
Yeah.
That bus thing you're talking about, that'd work out of Fort Bragg too.
There's so many different ways to do it. Like I said, I've got a lot of friends over in Lake County that would like to come over, and this just gives them an opportunity that they don't have to drink and drive. That they could come over, and like I said, it's all still up in speculation right now
That's a good
what
idea,
we can do.
though. Great idea.
If we could keep it all about $20 a person, that gets you right there, and you get you a hot dog and a beer or a hot dog and a soda at the racetrack. Then
And a race
then you can
ticket,
drink
how
at
about
the
yeah.
Boathouse. You can get a drink to go on the bus, and you can ride yourself and I'll be riding the bus too.
And a bouncer.
You know what? I'd even probably ride on that bus.
Yeah, it'd be a lot
better.
of fun.
Hey, I love you, Nadine, but it'd be better than riding crammed in with Nadine Strauss's motorhome. No, those are always fun rides. Those are always fun. I have fun road trips with the Strausses on the one way to Ukiah.
Is Nadine and Blair working together again this year?
Yep.
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, yes, they are. Yeah.
So what kind of classes of cars are going to be there this weekend?
Well, that's why I'm hoping somebody will call in and let us know.
Somebody go tell-
462-1407.
I think late models are running this
I think
weekend.
late models are running. I believe we're gonna have the first round of four bangers. I could be wrong on that.
Those late models are the best show in
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, and I
do a
think
good
that. I
job
think
Yeah,
that-
they are. You know
it's gonna
what?
be a lot of fun. I'm
Now
looking
check this
forward to
out,
it.
folks. I'm gonna give me a minute here. I'm gonna go on my computer and look because I believe that I have the schedule. Let's go to I'm gonna go to ukiahspeedway.com and check it out.
I asked the wrong question.
Yeah, there's a swap meet happening. While we're looking, there's a swap meet happening. It's actually check this out, folks. It's gonna be on the screen. You may have heard of it too. NorCal Vintage Hardtops is doing an actual swap meet. Yeah, do you know about it? Let's talk. Do you know about it or?
Not very much.
Okay. And you have some pictures that you brought. You brought a lot of stuff here, so we'll
Put them on later.
We'll we'll do the last 5 minutes, and we'll show that for the last 5 minutes. And guess what? Yes, I have it in front of me. We have modifieds, bombers, legends, bandoleros, and indeed the Airport Autobrokers late models are going to be there. Yes, Johnny, you got one right. And the first NSI
Now I'm
race
even more
points.
nervous.
It's the first. Yeah. Breathe. Clear. It's the first NSRA points race of the season. Then followed by April 16th with the Pro 4 Modifieds, Legends, Street Stocks, Bombers, and then the kids' rides are happening on the 23rd of April. You're not going to want to miss that one.
Lakeport's
I'll be
also
missing
going to
it.
be racing this weekend, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they are. Yeah, Lakeport will be racing too. Lakeport will be racing too, and I'm sure they're going to be bringing out their first round of those Extreme Asphalt Outlaws.
Let's get back to the vintage stuff for a minute.
Yeah, let's
You
do
ready?
that. Yes, she's
Okay.
got some pictures up, right?
I got a question for John. Name all the flagmans you can remember.
From where?
What's it? Local
Ooh.
racing tracks, Lakeport and Ukiah.
Well, okay, I could go from the time I started going to racing in the first. I saw Joe Mitchell, who recently passed away here a couple years ago. Joe. Then I know that Bob Johnson did it for a while. Bobby Ford did it. Then I took over Bob Ford's place, and I was there for 24 years, which is over half of Lakeport's history. Over here, Brian, what's Brian's last name?
Page?
Brian Page flagged over here. Bubba flagged.
yeah.
Larry Bates, not Larry Bates, but
Perry Bates.
Perry Bates
Yeah, the
flagged.
late Bubba Silver, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a thing for
Troy
here.
Furman flagged at Ukiah Speedway.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, I helped him. Had Garland Cisco when I raced. Garland Cisco flagged over at Lakeport
remember
Speedway.
that.
Hey, you two, I hate to brag. Boy, I wish we had 2 hours. This has been so much fun. We've only got about 3 minutes left, and I want to get it show. Let's show some pictures you have here real quick. We only have a few minutes to show a
This
few
is
of them.
Hugh Purdy. He's from Ukiah.
Hugh Purdy.
I don't remember that one.
Are you Purdy? No. But I don't know if you can get a close-up on this tech. Can you or no? Yeah, the cameras aren't operating. It's not doing. But this is a classic picture here. This is an awesome classic. Actually, you know what? I'm going to post these.
That's later 50s right there.
I will
believe.
post these. I will post these photos up. Cindy, you want to come get a close-up real quick? Are you close enough? I will. Yeah, we will have these. We will have
We're
these
only down to
vintage.
2 minutes.
Get this, folks. We have 2 minutes left. We will have these vintage posted up on our Facebook later from the lovely Cindy Picker. Ow. Yeah, the Leroy Marion shot, and I found some stuff from the NorCalVintageHardtops.com, courtesy of them. I didn't steal them. Courtesy of NorCalVintageHardtops.com. Go there to check it out. They've got all kinds of great stuff there. If you want to learn about history, go there.
Oh, I have it on my website.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Now I got to learn how to work it.
Yeah, the great Bill DeChamps is on there.
This electronic age went right by me like a bus.
Right.
Speaking of buses, you do a good job there, Ace.
Yeah, you know what? We have fun. Sometimes we have these glitches, but you know what? This show is fun, and we enjoy the people that do call in. They didn't tonight because I'm sure they were probably watching the Giants game or whatever, or the basketball game that was on tonight. The basketball game that was on tonight, but that's okay.
Go Butler.
Be sure to catch us. It's going to be taped. Yes, you'll be able to watch us. LCP TV Channel 8 out of Lake County. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, we have 2 minutes left? Oh. Now we only have 1 minute left.
it does.
Now we only have 1 minute left. See, we
1
did
minute?
get kind of cozy
Him
here.
and I have never had a crossword, believe that or not.
No.
Wow.
He's the
We haven't either, actually, have we?
We got
Yeah.
2 minutes? I got
You know what?
quick
Yes, we
story.
did. Announcing
No, no.
an announcer's booth, but
You had to hear this quick story one time. I was sitting in the grandstands. Chuck was announcing at Ukiah Speedway, and he had just got through making a public announcement about how we are a family. This is a family sport. Watch your mouth. Watch your drink
Kids.
and all this for the kids. About that sometime, a car went flying off turn 1. He goes, "Holy shit! Did you just see that?"
hey,
Who said that?
we're on TV.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait a minute. That didn't. That.
I'll bleep
I
it
said,
out.
"Shoot."
Yeah.
I remember that.
I
Yeah.
thought that was so funny. I just
Yeah.
and I looked at Nadine and I went,
What? How much time do you have left? Are we done?
I think it's- God damn it, you-
Okay, hey, we got 30 seconds, folks.
Done that
Matt
already.
Scott. Hey, listen, real quick. Matt Scott, NASCAR Women's Series, right here next Monday night. Thank you so much for watching, folks. It's been a great night. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
it because the push cart.
Like a bluebird with his heart removed, lonely as a train. I've run just as far as I can run. If I never see the good old days shining in the sun, I'll be doing fine and then some. I've been doing time in a lonesome prison where the sun don't shine. Just outside the Freedom River runs. Out there in that shining night with bloodhounds on your mind. Don't you know it's the same sad situation? Everybody feels alright, you know I've heard some poor fool say somebody, everyone is out there on
Now look at the inside,